Hi, my name is Lori Gill. I'm the clinical director and founder at the Attachment and Trauma Treatment Center for Healing. And I'm here today to share some of the techniques that we talk about in our training, which we often receive requests from other professionals, parents, and caregivers to summarize. So today we'll be talking about the hand-brain model, which is a model created by Dr. Dan Siegel. He has many wonderful resources, which I would encourage you to review. But this one here I find is quite helpful for helping people to understand arousal activation, understand kind of brain reactivity and nervous system reactivity. And what we do through this lens is I often will describe the hand-brain model in a very simplistic way. I explain this to little children as well as adults and professionals. The way I describe it is a little less detailed than what you see on the screen there, which is Dan Siegel's example. And you can listen to him describe this online as well. But as I said, I'm describing this to little kids of all ages and their parents and caregivers, and I really want something that's just going to be translatable for them. So what he talks about basically is that if you look at the hand as a model of the brain, our brain develops from the bottom up and the inside out. We can look at the base here as our brain stem, which is kind of the brain stem, the spinal cord. The brain stem ties in with all of our autonomic functions. Fight, flight, freeze ties in there as well. And it is the first part of the brain to grow and develop. It's online in utero, some of the parts. Then we have the midbrain, which includes things like our limbic system, which is our emotional regulatory center or the emotional regulatory boss, the hippocampus, the amygdala. The hippocampus has a key role in emotional memory and learning, also retrieval of memories. And the amygdala is really our threat detection center, or as I often will say to people, like our little security guard. And then the prefrontal part of the brain is the last part of the brain to grow and develop. It comes online more actively 3rd to 4th year of age and continues to grow. The latest research I've heard is into our late 30s for females and early 40s for males. So this part of our brain is more rapidly growing and developing, or predominantly growing and developing, into adolescence and adulthood, but certainly does start in childhood. And if we look at the hand as a model of the brain, basically what Dan Siegel talks about is this concept of flipping our lid. And I think it's such a great tool for parents and educators to be aware of. And he says basically what happens is when our emotions become too big down here in kind of the brainstem and the midbrain, he says it causes us to flip our lid. And when we flip our lid, we lose access to logic and reason and cause and effect and all of those wonderful strategies, because that's all stored up in the prefrontal part of the brain. So what I like to think about is, first of all, this is where we can have a client who has lots of great knowledge and awareness of tools. And maybe in your office, they're practicing it with you and they're able to do it. But when they go home, they're not able to use the strategies. And it's confusing and frustrating. And what happens quite often is we need to get in here and treat the underlying issues that are causing the lid flipping, causing the arousal activation that's kind of sending these parts of the brain offline or not accessible to us. So teaching parents, caregivers, children, youth, adults themselves how to notice the activation that's here, doing the work to tend to the fire or the underlying issues that are causing the activation, and then learning regulating strategies to reduce arousal when arousal is too high, or to stimulate when arousal is too low, are all strategies that can be really helpful for promoting integration and keeping that prefrontal part of the brain online. When it is online and when we have access to those strategies and resources and tools, then we're better able to respond in a way that's integrative. So we're able to tap into that emotional felt state. We're able to notice the sensations, the body emotions, the feelings that are coming up, and form meaning of it out of that left brain logical level in a way that allows us to act in a more integrative, coordinated, and consistent manner. So that's the hand-brain model through the lens that we use in a nutshell. I hope that that's helpful for you, and stay tuned for future posts. Wishing you a gentle rest of your day.